Tomorrow is the last day before the trade deadline ends, and it looks like the Warriors will not be making any moves. If James Wiseman returns before the playoffs, I think our depth at the center position should be fine, especially considering Draymond Green will be back in action. I read this article a few days back about the buyout market for the Warriors, and I saw some potentials. When asked about the buyout market this year, the Warriors GM Bob Myers said if the Warriors hold off on any big trade, they will be active in the buyout market. Now, what makes the buyout market amazing is that a team can basically sign a player with a much cheaper cost and there are more flexibilities. But the negative part is there is a ton of competitions within the market. In today's video, we'll be going over a few players that might get bought out this mid-season that can fit into this Warriors system. And with that being said, let's roll the intro.
Hi. I'm on my match in the dark. 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 I'm on my match.
Yo, what's up guys, Jason's here back with another video. If it's the first time watching, I make Golden State Warriors content and break down their news and rumors from all angles. So if you want full-time Warriors coverage, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and turn on notification bell, and you will always be notified first when I upload a new video. Alright, so there are a few types of contract that get bought out the most often. We're talking about expiring contracts on a bad team, expiring contracts that could be traded, and multi-year buyout, which is mostly a large contract. Looking at last season, players such as DeMarcus Aldridge, Andre Drummond, and Blake Griffin all got bought out. So my point is, if the Warriors see some potentials in some players in the buyout market, there is no harm to take some considerations, as these players might contribute and create a positive push for the Warriors in the playoffs. Alright, first up we have Robin Lopez. Back in 2018 and 2019, the Warriors showed interest in Lopez but never got the transaction done. Lopez is currently playing for the Magic, which is obviously a rebuilding team. After sending away their star talents such as Nikola Vucevic and Aaron Gordon last season, this team can officially be considered a bad team. Now, this season Lopez is making $5 million, which is really cost friendly as he's able to average 8.5 points and 3.8 rebounds per game. The problem right now is a team might snag him before the trade deadline. Looking at the current trade market, there's a pretty decent demand for centers, so I wouldn't be surprised if a transaction got done before the trade deadline ends. However, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the Magic to just keep a 33-year-old veteran, but I think a player like Lopez can help the Warriors by a noticeable margin. With his size and length and veteran experience, his presence can be valuable in the playoffs, especially with the current needs to add more depth at the center position. Moving on, we actually have Robin Lopez's teammate here, Gary Harris. Now, Harris got traded from the Denver Nuggets last season in the Aaron Gordon trade. This season so far, Harris is able to average 11.6 points, 2.2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal per game, while shooting 38.2% behind the arc. However, what makes the Magic considers him as a buyout target is that he's making $21 million this season, which again doesn't match with the Magic's timeline. Without any question, Orlando is open to trade away Gary Harris if the opposing team proposes an offer that matches up with his salary, but I doubt that will happen. If Harris gets bought out mid-season, it wouldn't be a bad idea to consider swapping Damian Lee for Gary Harris. Just think about how amazing that second unit will be for the Warriors if they get Harris. With his firepower, he can easily add more depth and strength at this already loaded backcourt. Alright, the third player I'm talking about here is Tristan Thompson. The Kings made a big trade acquiring Domantas Sabonis, where they packaged Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson for Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and a 2023 second-round pick. We learned back in December that the Pacers are trying their best to sell their veterans, as we also learned a few days ago that the Cavaliers acquired Caris LeVert. Now, I actually had Thompson on my Warriors free agency target list a few years ago, and based on the way he plays right now, he can still be a decent bench contributor, as he's averaging 6.2 points and 5.4 rebounds per game this season. The Pacers are not really a bad team, but they're also nowhere close to contention, and there isn't any reason to keep these aging veterans. I don't think it's a good idea to replace Nemanja Bjelica with Tristan Thompson, but the team can basically just cut one of their guards to make room for him. Last but not least, we have Serge Ibaka. At this current moment, the Clippers definitely want to trade Ibaka to a rebuilding team, as you can see owing more than $40 million in salary and luxury tax. However, this basically means the Clippers have to give the other team more picks as compensation. This year, with inconsistent playing minutes, Ibaka is able to average 6.6 points, 4.3 rebounds, 1 assist, while shooting 38.7% behind the arc. These past few seasons, Ibaka has become a player that has some threat behind the arc, and he's a pretty decent pick and roll big man. Now, the impression he gives me is that he is always that hidden but important piece for a contending team. Just think about 2020 with the Clippers, 2019 with the Raptors, and 2015 with the Thunders. Since both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are out as of right now, and Kawhi likely will not make a return this season, I expect the Clippers to load up in the offseason instead of trying to win now. If Ibaka doesn't get traded, it's very likely the Clippers will buy him out. As of right now, the Warriors are the second seed in the West, and notice, Draymond Green has been missing for quite a while. And looking at the current conference, the only team I view as a threat right now for the Warriors is the Phoenix Suns, and I don't think we'll meet them until the third round of the playoffs, and plus, we're 2-1 against them. The trade market is closing very soon, but I think there could be some potential sparks for the Golden State Warriors coming up in the following buyout market. Alright guys, so this wraps up the video. Let me know your thought in the comment section down below. Peace out, strength in numbers.